Alright, howdy everyone. The time is 9:14 p.m. and it is February 8th today. It is late this evening. Welcome to another Great Lakes weather. We're covering some interesting weather coming up over the next week. We have some pretty dynamic weather moving through, and in fact we got a low pressure system that's bringing some dynamic weather to the region, and in fact could bring some thunderstorms that could possibly be severe, as you see in this scenario right here that is shown. So we're going to provide some updates on this and continue to provide updates as this unfolds. Make sure to subscribe and stay updated regarding the different weather events that we will be facing. We will continue to provide updates on those only if we can keep this going. So make sure to subscribe, keep the momentum going. Hopefully this coming spring we'll be able to do some live chasing events. Been putting together the technology to do that for a long time. So make sure that you take advantage of that if you can. Alrighty, so let's get started with the information about this weather event. You see a lot of different boxes of different colors here on this particular graphic here. This is from Pivotal Weather's website, but this is from the National Weather Service alerts. You can see here, look at all these different wind events right here, or these wind alerts right here. You have wind advisories in the tan color, and then Great Lakes regions very heavily impacted by this because there is in fact a high wind warning for parts of central Indiana and western and northwestern Ohio. A high wind warning is in effect for these different areas. Okay, and then you do see this tornado watch on the southern portion of it as well. Tornado watch with some severe thunderstorms there. I think they had a tornado today. Not entirely sure. I do know they had some tornado warnings down there. Then there's a flood watch, flood warning for some excessive rainfall in this area. And then on the northern side you have those winter weather alerts, winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings. You can see that the system that's going to be moving through during the day, well, overnight tonight in the south, and then during this here in this area, the Great Lakes region, tomorrow morning, is going to have some influence on this region, pretty evidently. So we're going to be looking at the reason why this weather pattern is setting up the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to skip this graphic right here for now, and we'll come back to it in just a minute. But here's what the GFS model is showing. I'm actually going to skip this one too and zoom in exactly on this event that's happening right now. So the high wind warning. What is causing all of these high winds? So what really is causing this is this low pressure system that's existing across parts of Missouri. This is actually a visual of midnight tonight. Okay, so this is going to be around midnight where it's going to be. You do see some thunderstorms surging into parts of southern Indiana, and these thunderstorms could have a little bit of wind to them. There is a lot of low-level wind shear, directional shear in the atmosphere with this. Don't really see a tornado threat from this at all. It's not a favorable setup for that. It's really the marginal risk that the SPC has put out for this area, which is actually right here. This marginal risk for severe weather is only for damaging winds in this area. Okay, so marginal risk existing for parts of Ohio, Indiana, southern Michigan. This is the severe weather potential that we do have, pretty similar to the areas that saw that enhanced risk for January in this area as well. But this low pressure system is what's causing that, this mid-latitude cyclone that's moving in. And then let's see what happens as it unfolds. You do see that it's at 1,002 millibars. Pay close attention to that, because that's going to be what's causing a lot of the wind potential as well. So it's surging off to the northeast. You can see it's deepening quite quickly. It's dropped 10 millibars within a few hours. So it's at 992 millibars, and then it actually drops down to 991 millibars. Notice here, as we get closer to this, you do see those storms begin to move through. You do see these little strands of green here. There's some theories that could produce some damaging wind gusts connected to that low, but we'll see how that pans out a little bit later. So that's going to be during the midday hours on Thursday, maybe early afternoon hours. And then you do see that low lifting off to the north. Look how close these isobars are to each other, how tight they are. That is what's going to contribute to the stronger winds. You're going to see winds wrapping around this low pressure system in a counterclockwise fashion, coming from the southwest if you're up towards Michigan, coming from the west if you're in southern parts of Ohio. If we do a freeze frame here at hour 30 and go to the wind gust setup, look at these wind gusts that you have coming in with this particular event. You do have 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in those areas that are highlighted by the high wind warning, and even some stronger wind gusts connected with some of those gusty thunderstorms that'll be moving through parts of Ohio as well. You do see those potential wind gusts moving through, and you kind of see it does broaden out a little bit across much of this area. Interesting thing about the HRRR is that it does show kind of a weakening of those winds in this area here associated with that low. But again, you do see as the low shifts off to the east, those winds do carry over into parts of Michigan as well. But Ohio's really going to get the brunt of this, it looks like, in terms of winds. Wind gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. So wind advisories, high wind warnings are out given this scenario that is currently being shown by the HRRR. So that's what's currently being shown by this particular event. Maybe a pop-up thunderstorm that could pack some severe potential. There could be some lightning with these storms that move through. But the real concern here is the non-severe thunderstorm winds that will be moving through. Could cause some power outages, some things to blow around. So really it just comes down to securing loose items outdoors. Temperature with this won't be an issue. We're going to have temperatures in the mid to upper 50s across much of the area. In fact, if I do a temperature graphic of this particular setup here, temperatures in the mid to upper 50s across much of Indiana and Ohio connected with this particular event. Temperatures getting close to even the mid 60s across West Virginia and Kentucky. So temperatures definitely going to be quite warm, so going to be a good day to enjoy that warm weather despite the wind. So good opportunity there as well. But that's what the HRRR is showing with this setup. So the wind gusts are really the primary concern from this, and then you'll have that winter weather up there in that general area as well. I want to go to the GFS and kind of get an idea of what's going to happen in the long range. So here we have that low pressure system that's moving off to the northeast, and what you're going to see here as we go through this is that there's going to be a very dynamic pattern in terms of the weather that moves through the Great Lakes region over the next several days, and then we will see a cooling trend that will likely welcome some possible winter weather in late February. That's what the GFS model is currently projecting. Euro model does have some disagreement on the placement of some of those winter storms, but it does show that there could be a winter storm near mid-February, late February as well. So here's what this low is bringing. Again, that convective line of showers and thunderstorms moving through the continental United States. You do see that snow in parts of northern Michigan, places such as Boyne City, Upper Peninsula. Those regions could see some snowfall. Definitely good benefits there for people who like the snow. And then really what you're going to see here is that high pressure system takes over, sunshine takes over across much of the Great Lakes region. Southern places such as southern Ohio, southeastern Ohio may have some cloud cover, but I do think most places will see sunshine. And again, with that sunshine, there's going to be a major warm-up coming in along with that sunshine on Sunday. Sunday, we're going to see temperatures close to 50 degrees in many spots, and it's going to be sunny. Can't ask for a better day for a break from winter in February. So that's a good opportunity to enjoy that particular setup there. And then as we get into Wednesday, February 15th, or kind of turning over the day to that, you do see this rainfall start to move in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. This is another low that's being forecast by the GFS, and it does show some rainfall potential moving in on next Wednesday. So that's something that could move through. And then one thing to pay attention to is this deepening low that is currently projected in the long range to move through the continental United States. I do think there's going to be a quick cool off come late February that's going to bring some winter storms, and it looks like this particular low, look how deep this low is. This could possibly lead to some blizzard conditions across this area up that has these really tight isobars. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some blizzard conditions up there if this model were to hold together, which will likely change in the long run. But you do see on this backside also some cooling air mass back here that is going to bring temperatures down quite a bit, I do think. You'll have temperatures that are below freezing during this time. I don't think it'll be anything miserable, but it will be cold enough to spark some winter activity, maybe associated with some additional low pressure systems in the long range. Again, don't want to make projections about this just yet because this is a long range model, but still some things to focus on as we potentially get closer. Now the upper level pattern kind of follows along with this, and it also does show kind of how the temperature changes could unfold. It's a very dynamic pattern of weather that's moving through. You see multiple instances of ridges and troughs taking over the Great Lakes region, kind of a movement of air across the northern hemisphere. You can see that as I progress this forward. As we get to Valentine's Day, you do see that trough quickly getting shoved out and that ridge building in. And then as we continue, you do see a series of troughs and ridges just building into the Great Lakes region. Going to be a bouncing around of temperatures going on with this scenario, with some associated rain and snow likely possible with this. And looking at the long range, one thing I want to pay attention to, again, this is very far out in the long range, but I do see this blocking set up across parts of Alaska and parts of Greenland. We'll have to see what that means for the Arctic air surging down in the continental United States, because that usually means there could be some Arctic air surging down into the United States. It's kind of shoved down by the high pressure, so we'll have to see how that unfolds. But again, long range models, we'll wait to see, make a determination. But good time to subscribe and keep that information available to you through our YouTube channel. Again, take a look at the National Weather Service's website for further information and better information probably. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this information was helpful to you, and I will continue to provide updates, and maybe if I get some footage of these storms that are coming through tomorrow, we'll look at getting some of that on there as well. Stay tuned for future live streams of possible events coming this spring. Likely we're going to do some storm chases as we get into spring. So thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all later.